welcome to this special draft day edition of Cronkite Sports Now. I'm Kirsten Corns. It's finally NFL draft day, and Arizona Cardinals will be active early with the number 8 pick in the first round. General Manager Steve Keim has stated that he wants to draft a quality player with the pick. Many believe that player will be an offensive tackle. Here is Keim detailing which lineman he likes.
Andrew Thomas is a guy, he's probably one of the best pass protectors. You got Becton, who's freakish and one of the most powerful and gives you that wow factor. Worst has got tremendous upside athletically, does things out in space that are amazing, and you'd like to think that he's just going to continue to get better and better. And our guy at Alabama is just, he can play guard, he can play right tackle, he's tough, he's nasty. So the guys bring so many different things to the table that you get excited about. At the end of the day, I think that all 4 of them are going to be good players, and you just have to determine what fits what you do best.
In an effort to go remote during tonight's draft, general managers and coaches are facing a number of challenges. Reporter Brandon Jensen has more about what people around the NFL will deal with during this virtual draft.
Despite being drafted 19th overall by the New York Giants in 2013, Justin Pugh was not invited to the NFL draft. He did not get to bro hug the commissioner or have a jersey presented to him on national television. But Pugh knows from firsthand experience that it can be better this way.
All these guys, if you hear this, just get to enjoy that time with your family, the ones that got you there. I know it's not going to be a whole big party, but the ones that have meant the most to you and knew you before you were, that NFL projected guy.
Like Pugh, prospects will not experience the usual red carpet extravaganza, but the former Syracuse star's more intimate draft day experience was still one to remember.
You get to spend that time with them in your house, cherish that moment, and get ready to go to work from there. And that's something that I'll never forget, being with my loved ones and the ones that were closest to me.
To create a virtual green room, the NFL is reportedly sending 58 prospects technology kits. Glitches are bound to happen, but with pro days and pre-draft interviews canceled, some prospects face a bigger challenge than technical difficulties.
I definitely empathize with them. I don't necessarily know what advice I would give to somebody going through that situation, because a lot of guys, pro day is the only shot that they have to get in front of these scouts.
Hicks was a third-round pick in 2015 and had his college career hindered by injuries, so the pre-draft process was vital to determining where he would get drafted.
I remember being a rookie, going through the process, all you want to do is impress, show what you can do. And to have those opportunities taken away is tough.
While this might pose a challenge for some prospects, Cardinals coach Cliff Kingsbury said that their draft prep has largely stayed the same.
There will be adjustments to be made, but we'll be able to call and text. And for the most part, we're at our houses watching film and doing the same draft prep we do in our office, just without the human interaction.
In lieu of in-person interviews, Kingsbury said that the pre-draft process will involve a lot of phone calls, text messages, and webcam conversations. In fact, Kingsbury said that meeting behind a screen could work to the favor of some prospects.
These days, it feels like it is in person. You have the FaceTimes, you have the Zoom meetings, your sit-down meetings just become that. And honestly, a lot of these kids are more comfortable doing that. They're on the FaceTime 12 hours a day with their friends and people. And so you get the most comfortable version of them on that FaceTime, honestly.
The head coach believes the changes in the draft could even streamline the process of making a decision, but he's sure they'll still overthink it. In Mesa, Brandon Jensen, Cronkite News.
Cronkite reporter Brady Klein was at the NFL Combine in Indy back in February. He joins me now to discuss the possible virtual glitches that might carry over from the mock draft and Arizona ties to this year's draft.
All right, so today we have history being made, the first ever virtual NFL draft. Now, Brady, earlier on this week during a mock draft, we've already seen some technical difficulties. What are some glitches you predict might happen tonight at the first round?
Well, one of the big things that we saw earlier in the week when they were running the mock draft scenario on Monday was Wi-Fi bandwidth difficulty, and a lot of that was to do with the other people in the house. So I know one GM had all the cable and all the internet going to just his computers, and all of a sudden it dropped out in the middle of it because his kids were playing on the iPad and I think watching Netflix or doing whatever on there. So the bandwidth issue was a problem at the beginning of the week. I'm guessing that's why they did it Monday instead of yesterday. But I would assume that hopefully all 32 teams and all 32 GMs and coaches would have a solid internet connection now going forward. I know one coach has the head of the IT department. I believe it's the Lions has the head of the IT department parked in an RV in his driveway just in case anything goes wrong. So someone on site to help out and fix whatever is needed. But the internet problem was the big concern, but hopefully that's been hashed out by now.
Kicking off all their kids on Netflix for the time being.
Yeah.
Duty's call. So we've heard a lot of rumors about teams potentially trading their picks today. What are some of those teams you potentially see doing those trades?
So one of the big teams that's, been talked about for weeks and for months trading a pick would be the Chargers. They're picking at the 6th spot, but there are 2 teams ahead of them that need quarterbacks, Cincinnati and Miami. There's been a lot of talk about hopefully, or maybe Miami trading up to the 1st spot with Cincinnati, but I don't see the Bengals budging at all there with that number 1 pick with Joe Burrow. But the Chargers could jump up and maybe switch 6 and 5 with Miami to get the specific quarterback they want. And one team that I have making a trade that really isn't very, popular among mock drafts is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are picking at 14. Now, I don't know if you know who the Buccaneers' new toy they got is, but it's a guy named Tom Brady. And so they need somebody to protect Tom Brady on the offensive line. So I could see them trading up from 14 to possibly the 11th spot, flipping with the Jets to get a solid offensive lineman, one of the better offensive linemen draft classes we've seen in years. So
yes,
2 teams there.
And we see Arizona Cardinals have the 8th pick. Do you see the Cardinals keeping that pick? Or
I do. I could have seen them trading before they got the addition of DeAndre Hopkins. Those were my 2 big needs for the Cardinals, was a wide receiver that's able to go make plays. Yes, you have Larry Fitzgerald, but he's getting up there in age, and who knows, how many more years he'll be playing with the Cardinals. So they would have drafted a receiver if they didn't get Hopkins. They got lucky, somehow pulled off the trade with DeAndre Hopkins. So I could see them most definitely holding on to that 8th spot and taking an offensive lineman there.
So you mentioned offensive lineman in that 8th spot. Is there anyone that you see fit that would be a smart choice for the Cardinals in that pick?
Yeah, Tristan Wirfs from Iowa. He's a solid outside lineman. He's able to play tackle and is converted from the left side to the right side this last year at Iowa. But he's one of those guys that could, come in and make a day 1 impact, and I think can immediately bolster that offensive lineman. They got a solid veteran center in A.Q. Shipley manning the middle up front, but other than that, they have a pretty young offensive line core. So I think Tristan Wirfs from Iowa would be just a hands-down solid pick for the Cardinals, Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury to bring into the system and help protect their new young quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Absolutely. So this year we see 4 ASU alums in it. We have Ayuk, Eno Benjamin, Michael Turk, and Cole Cabral. What round do you potentially see those players getting drafted in?
So I think Brandon Ayuk is, at this point, a consensus 1st-round pick. And if he's not going to be in the 1st round, he'll be one of the first 2 or 3 players taken in the 2nd. So I'm going to put him at a 1st-round pick. I actually have him going in my 1st-round mock draft at 25 to Minnesota. They lost Stephon Diggs to Buffalo. So I think, Brandon Ayuk to Minnesota would be a fun pairing. But also I've seen a lot of people have him fall to 30 to Green Bay. Wouldn't that be fun to see a guy like Brandon Ayuk go pair with a great quarterback like Aaron Rodgers and air him out? I think Eno Benjamin's a guy who's going to be a 2nd or 3rd day guy. He could be between rounds 3 and 5. I think he's a great running back, but this is a strong running back class, especially with Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift, the 2 premier running backs in the class so far. But only a junior. These other guys were seniors, and he could have stayed another year. I personally thought it would have been smart of him if he wanted to bolster his draft stock, with the offense that ASU is going to be having this next year. I think it's going to be solid. Michael Turk, that's what's so different is punters, they're hit or miss in being drafted. Is you don't see a lot of punters being drafted. You see a lot of kickers being drafted. If anything, I could see Michael Turk being a round 6 or 7 guy. And then Cole Cabral, he's a solid offensive lineman, didn't let up really any sacks, let up no pressure up the middle, got converted to 3 different positions from a tackle to a guard, then to a center. So he's able to play all 3 spots on the offensive line. I could see him being a 5th or 6th round guy. His size is going to be up there. He's not as mobile, but he's a solid interior blocking lineman. So some team's going to get really lucky with a late round steal in Cole Cabral.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brady, for giving us the insight for the draft happening later on today. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Can't wait to see what the Cardinals and what everyone else does with 30 picks in the first round.
Running back Eno Benjamin probably won't hear his name called today, but he is ready. The second or third day draft pick took to Twitter to showcase some of his best plays as a Sun Devil.
I've been focused, bringing racks in. This for all my trapped in. This for all my trapped in. Caught a case of made me back spin. I've been focused, bringing racks in. This for all my trapped in. And he's gone. On their own time. Whoa. I done ran up on a gold mine. Whoa. Little Henny made me roll slide.
The live NFL draft starts at 5 p.m. Arizona time, and you can watch it on ESPN, ABC, or NFL Network. Enjoy your first ever virtual NFL draft, and we'll catch you back here later on for more Arizona sports content.